from this format yesterday in an emotional interview this morning. Just let everyone know where he's at with this format. Home crowd stand to their local lad. It is an emotional day for all concerned. Great for England to let him go out first. South Africa are in town just a couple of days after India departed. We have 3 tests, 3 T20s, and first of all, 3 ODIs. Ben Stokes playing in his last ODI, 105 games, takes centre stage. A warm, hot, humid day at Chester Street, 36 degrees the forecast. It's a good crowd in, they expect to sell out. And they're here to watch England and to watch Stokes and to get back on track. They're here to watch England and to watch Stokes and to get back on track. That they put on the park, 2 spinners. Keshav Maharaj captains the side. No. It's 11 that they put on the park, 2 spinners. Keshav Maharaj captains the side. No hesitation when he won the toss. With the balance of their side, he was going to have a bat first. England have made a couple of changes. Great to see Adil Rashid back in the side. Sam Curran's there as well. He'll take the new ball. England have 3 changes. Rashid, Curran and Potts on debut. So Sam Curran with the first ball of this series against South Africa. Make of the decision at the toss.
Well, I think it was pretty logical for South Africa to make of the decision at the toss. Well, I think it was pretty logical for South Africa to win the toss and then, of course, elect to bat. They've got 2 spinners, kind of sussing out how they want to play, not just here in England, but also when they go to the subcontinent. The pitch is really dry, the weather's warm. Why not have a bat? It's going to be a long, tiring effort on the field as well.
A little bit of swing. We've seen that this summer with these white balls, especially against India. Likes of Bumrah swinging it. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar in the T20 series. Not a lot, just a hint.
Just a scramble seam there. A better seam presentation, but probably have seen more swing. But just shape for now for Sam Curran. It's quite skiddy, Sam. Rushes you quite a bit, has a very fast bumper. Very skilled.
Short. Just dragged his length back a fraction.
That's always going to be the case for Sam Curran. He was playing as a youngster, about 18 years old, shouldering the responsibility of bowling with the new ball in almost all formats when I was with Surrey. You'd always see that there's something special about him, that he was going to play for England a little bit longer than probably Tom, his brother.
Punch nicely, and South Africa and Milan are off the mark. It's a quick outfield. Stokes gives chase, just protecting that knee again. We saw in the India series a couple of times. He just hobbled to the boundary and hobbled back.
Yeah, the pitch looks very, very good. Good amount of pace in it. Can be a little bit of variable bounce, but you can immediately see that with just a little hard push, an extension of the defense. And if the pitch is not good, that's not going anywhere. But this one just raced through.
Quinton de Kock, who has given up Test match cricket to concentrate on white ball cricket, and he is a seriously talented white ball cricketer. T20 or 50 over. And he's tight. The dive gets him in. Throw misses the stumps anyway, but Quinton de Kock was keen to get off the mark. He does do. It's 4 for none.
It's always nice to get off strike, but probably not with that amount of risk. A full-length dive, very good from Milan. Dive very, very early, fully outstretched, and just in as the ball passed the stumps.
Talking to local lads, Matthew Potts, absolute star of that Test match series. He's on debut. Earlier today, Mark Wood, another very, very fine fast bowler from these parts, presented him with his cap. Very special moment for him. Wickets in the county championship, wickets in the Test match series against India and New Zealand, and hoping for wickets in white ball cricket to start with against South Africa. Hasn't played any white ball cricket since August last year, so it will feel different for him, but the surroundings are very familiar.
We talked about how repeatable his action is, how economical, and how it helps him to get that length, that full length. I'm just quite interested to see how he can adjust that length. Yes, that length is really good with the new ball, and that's what you're looking at when you're trying to take wickets in that first 10. But an ability to adjust. What are his variations? Does he have the slower balls? Does he have the Yorkers? I think this is the start of what could be an assessment of what he needs to do to just keep getting better.
Short wide, toe end of the bat, but I reckon it will go away for 4. It does. First boundary for the dangerous Quinton de Kock.
Exactly what Quinton de Kock or any opener would want. Short, wide, really, really wide. Quinton de Kock actually did well to get bat on that. Just enough. Toe end of the bat. That's how fast the outfield is as well. He's got to be accurate. Just trust his lengths from Test cricket for those first 10 overs. Settle in. He'll be nervous, but just concentrate, set the tone. If he hasn't played a lot of white ball cricket since, well, August of last year, so it would probably seem that it's an assessment of his Test form, and England thinking that that's good enough, and they've seen something in him at practice, perhaps, to say he's good enough for ODI cricket.
Yeah, I think everyone that saw him in the Test match would realise that those skills that he had there were transferable. He hit that hard length, hit the splice of the bat, did enough with the ball. Obviously, we'll see the variations that you may not see in Test match cricket as the game progresses and maybe his career progresses. But most bowlers now have the tricks up their sleeve of the slower balls and the knuckle balls and the Yorkers. At the moment, it is just line and length and how he bowls in Test match cricket. It's down the leg side. That will be a wide. Just the one slip for Potts. Bowling to Milan, a ring field on the offside. Gully is quite close, backward point. That's nice, Pottsy.
Spreading on the field again, an indication of how flat England think the wicket is, really. It's just in the second over, Matthew Potts really gets enough on that ball in Test cricket to feed the slips, but immediately the slips gone out, a ring field against India. A lot more slips for a much longer time.
Score batting first here is 263. It's also a big playing area, so the two spinners of both sides will like that. 3 for England if you include Livingston. Does bring spin into it. Look at that for a plain surface. Can't just chip it for 6. Short arm jab. Good comeback from Potts after the wide. It's 12 for none after 2. Toss not that important. Last 5 games here, 2 sides have won batting first, 2 batting second, so it's not bat first ground like Lord's recently has been very much a bat first ground in this format. Potts will be happy. He's got through his first over, went for 8, but just to get into the game and get into the format, he's off and running.
Sometimes you concentrate so much about stats that you forget what's good for you as a side, what's your makeup, what are you confident in doing when you win the toss. The history of the ground, all of that, all the conditions of the day, probably a lot more important than what's been happening historically at the ground and its makeup of your side. Tekla at 7. South Africa was always going to bat first.
So, Coach Kumar, when you've got Quinton de Kock on the opposition, maybe in an IPL game, what have you got on your do's and don'ts?
No width. Nothing in terms of back of a length on his legs or at the stumps. You want a ball across him, probably from that blind spot, a midland leg kind of pitching going across him if there's swing. Round the wicket for sure. He loves paddling the ball with the new ball. Anything that's hip height, he swivels and picks over square leg. And that's a really good line, a really good length. And then the occasional bump. I think Sam Curran is the person to really use his bumper, because every single time I've seen Sam bowl, his bumper just hurries a batter up. He's just got a little, a couple of extra yards on it. It's really skiddy. The trajectory is low, so you get a batter really playing at it. But yeah, just stump to stump across him and then around the wicket if you're a right armer. But for Sam, just stay in that area, in that channel.
Solid ball, he finds and he picks up square leg. Moeen Ali does very well.
And that's what you don't want to do, Nasser. That kind of a length, because he's really, really good in standing his ground. A lot more towards cover and cover more towards point, and you cover that up and you can block a lot of those shots that just went through for 4.
Misses out there. That was wide again. 16 for none. Cloudy, humid and very warm at Chester Street. 16 for none. South Africa having won the toss and electing to bat first. Moeen Ali had a long word with Jos Buttler at the end of that over, maybe about what Kumar Sangakkara was talking about where Jason Roy and the cover point go. Let's see if they just get the cover point on the square. Roy's having a word with cover point. Butler's going up to the stumps. And exactly what Kumar was chatting about, that triangle on the offside. Mid-off's gone wider. And whoever's at cover point, I reckon it's Livingston, has to be right square. Belts it straight down the ground for a single.
He wants to stop the boundaries through his favourite areas, and that's one of his favourite areas. It just adds a lot of pressure on Quinton de Kock. He's got shots all around the wicket, but every batter's got a favourite area. He looks to score. He seems deems low risk. They're also catching positions, NASA, both extra cover, the deep cover on the circle, and then, of course, cover point.
It's a nice mix, actually. Obviously, left hand, right hand. Quinton de Kock quite wristy, whereas Milan, you'd say a little bit more robotic is a bit harsh, but punchy down the ground. He looks like someone who's had a lot of bowling machine growing up. Just tries to punch through the line a lot. Like that. It's a good mixture. And he has his first boundary. Good start this from South Africa.
Absolutely right, Nasser. It's just that kind of repetitive ball pitches up, foot goes down, and he just knows exactly how to do that. Great position, great pace, great follow through. Just look at the curve of the bat coming back into the ball, meeting it with the full face. Really good.
Which means as a captain, you may have your offside slightly straighter to him because he hits through the line, and slightly squarer for Quinton de Kock because he flicks it square. And there's the straighter one. And it's two different batters and two different challenges for the bowlers.
I was just talking about length and the repetitive length of Potts in terms of test match. Like he's got to really bring it back, really work on subtle variations. Yeah, scramble seam, just cut him back in, but straight into the middle of the bat. Another nice little punch. Nothing extravagant. Just the full face, and that's enough on this pitch. Potts needs to really be careful. He needs to be able to adjust, and adjust quickly.
Does adjust. He goes too short and too leg side. Good over for South Africa, 11 from it, 27 for none. Yeah, it is just one series after another at the moment. On Sunday, India flew off to the West Indies, and on Tuesday, South Africa in town. That is their tour schedule. 3 50-over games up north here in Old Trafford and Headingley. Then the T20 series, Bristol, Cardiff and Southampton. And then 3 test matches, Lords, Old Trafford and the Oval. 3 different captains as well for South Africa in the 3 formats. Maharaj. Today, Miller in T20s and Dean Elgar in the Test series.
Fine legs adjusted quite square by Sam Curran. And the first bumper brushes de Kock low and through him. Really well played as well, really well bowled. It's not something de Kock shies away from, the short ball, something that he loves, but that one just in the wrong area for him to take advantage of.
Surprised he didn't take that on, because it was a bit loopy. Maybe it was a little bit wide. And he fumbles it. I think it was Livingston. Yeah, it was. It was bounced up nicely in his hands, and Quinton de Kock was a little bit worried for a second. But as it bounced up, he just fumbled it. There.
He's not the quickest between wickets, but yeah, that was a chance, really. A clean grab off that, and the run out was definitely on. Livingston knows it. It's quite an interesting start, quite a change from what I've seen in the India versus England series. A little more sedate, a little more circumspect, just proper cricket shots. No skipping down the track as yet.
It's a change to the field. Curran wants third man up. It's Rashid, and point goes out to the boundary as a sweeper on the offside.
This is what the IPL has done as challenge bowlers who rethink their fields. This kind of a split field, you see a lot in T20s. Third man coming up allows the bowler a bigger margin for error in terms of length and width on the offside. Could also be that Sam Curran's looking to try and change his pace a little bit more, try and get a false shot to extra cover. Maybe hit that channel on off stump so there's slip as well to kind of feed. It gives him a lot of comfort to have the offside boundary covered.
That's a good comeback. That's the angle, the natural variation a left-hander has. You worry about it maybe swinging back in, but actually occasionally it'll just hold its line, and on the angle, with the wobble seam, it goes across.
That's really good for Quinton de Kock as well. He's been concentrating on that channel line to the lefty, and the scramble seam cut him back in. It's quite a dangerous delivery to de Kock as well.
This is out there, Milan. That was right to leg stump half volley. What about spin to Quinton de Kock early on? What are the thoughts there? My gut feel is off spin against him. Maybe a bit of Moeen Ali in the power play.
I wouldn't mind either, really. As you probably go Moeen Ali because it's a lefty, but Rashid as well has been very, very good with the straight one out of the front of the hand. Just kind of shakes things up a bit. You come expecting a certain pattern of play as an opener. Really well bowled. Just the outside edge doesn't carry. No pace in the pitch. 28 for none for South Africa. I would have expected England to have done something slightly different. Assess the pitch as quickly as possible. It's only been 5 overs, but definitely within the first 10, one of the spinners.
As Joss Buttler has to do nowadays, he has to make the long trek from his wicket-keeping position. He'll probably hang back at the end of the over to chat to his bowler. Quick chat with Potts, who's been expensive. His first 2 overs in ODI cricket have gone for 19. The splice of the bat. Rashid will have to give chase to that. Rashid goes down in instalments, and Quinton de Kock was not switched on there. They could have come back for 3. The flick to Moeen Ali wasn't a great one from Rashid.
These sorts of mistakes can be costly. There's easy three there in terms of awareness. Quinton was not in it. Really don't want a really good ball bowled at you after this. Well fielded, a little bit ungainly. And straight over Moeen's head. Bottom hand, it's so strong and so turned over. That's why he's so good on the leg side, and that's why sometimes you've got to challenge him to try and hit through the offside, and very straight through the offside. He's really good with his hands just like that, and he does manage to get it. But if you can hold your length and challenge him with change of pace, it's something that he doesn't really like. Beautifully played.
Yeah, he is very difficult to bowl at. He hits you square, he pulls you away, and then you say, right, the skipper says bowl straighter to him. And he's got the ability, even with that strong bottom hand, just to punch it down the ground. It looks a good surface. And England are going to have to work hard. I think spin is going to be the way to go eventually with this bigger ground. Even Stokes can't cut that off.
It's a lot to do with the length, Ash. That length is a lot better than being too full on this pitch. At least it gives an opportunity for the field to come in to stop the runs. Chance for a false shot. Hasn't gone round the wicket as yet, which I'm quite surprised by. I'm sure England has a